what I call contra strategies in a little while. But also look at what are you doing that's helping you to be more proactive in your sourcing versus reactive. Are you waiting until that job order comes in? Are you waiting until something hits your desk in order to try to fill it? Or are you pipelining talent? Be thinking about what you're doing. Always listen and try to find what are the best practices in the industry. December is historically kind of November and December are kind of a little bit low. December kind of kicks back up because people start seeing January is when they're going to have their budget. They want to hire people right now, but use this time to be looking at ERE, look at SourceCon, look at some of the other websites that are out there that may have free training, or that you didn't have to go to this event, but you can watch it online and learn all the great stuff. This is one, anybody familiar with Deming? A couple of head nods. He is, I'm not going to go into a lot of him, but I studied him in college, but his concept is that you don't have to 100% always be innovative. You don't have to be the person like Edison's coming up with a new invention. What you can do sometimes is take a great idea that's out there, adopt that idea, adapt it to your style or make it a little bit better, and become more adept at it than the person that initially showed you or initially you learned that from. I'm a big believer in this, and I would encourage you also, take any of these ideas, do the Deming principle on them. If you see something that would work for you, modify it, make it your own. That's why I'm sharing this stuff with you. So you can never go wrong with kind of the adopt, adapt, and adapt kind of model. And then, for anybody, any fans of Rush, the band, my favorite band. So there's because I was doing this for the War for Talent, the one thing is in innovation, you got to find out whether you're an innovator or follower, and sometimes make sure that you're an innovator too, because when you're constantly kind of updating things, because there's a song called the Manhattan Project that's about the nuclear bomb, and they basically said whoever found it first would be sure to do their worst they always had before. Kind of the thing that you've sometimes got to get out there and be the first mover sometimes when it comes to technology, or else your competition will get there first, especially in the War for Talent. All right, I'm gonna kind of go faster through the next couple slides. Is that okay with everybody? Yeah, okay. You have to determine whether you're doing an airstrike with your tactics or whether you're doing infantry ground. When I say airstrike, I'm talking about, are you doing everything electronic and never picking up the phone and talking to your candidates? Some people are like that. You know, some people have never, done cold calling and only want to do warm calling. So, that's okay, but you just have to look at what kind of tactics are you leveraging and what are the results that you're getting from them. If they're good, then you keep doing them. But I would just say, always look at that. Then the other ones is that from a customer standpoint, are your customers, your hiring managers basically saying, hey, we want you to just post this job and we'll look at the candidates, kind of the old called post and pray kind of technique. So just have to look at what you're doing. But the other is that are you doing kind of infantry or ground techniques, as I would call it, more kind of feet on the street kind of thing, that smiling and dialing, making sure that are you doing your calls before 8 a.m. and after 5, when sometimes what they call the proverbial gatekeeper might not be there, or the switchboard that might be able to shut you out. And are you using Facebook and LinkedIn to get their name as a contact and then calling in? Now, are you doing it via email? So the other is that I always did the same when I was an agency recruiter with management recruiters for 3 years. I used to, my technique was when in doubt, I'd always call into accounts payable or accounts receivable. Anybody do that still? It's a great, yeah. I mean, security, yeah, they usually will do the same. But nowadays, you can get, that's a perfect way into any company. I mean, they will always, have accounts receivable, and then, oh, sorry, I somehow got directed here. I'm actually looking for this person. Any way you can transfer me? And they always will. I don't know why. They'll get you the right person. Oh, let me look it up for you. Oh, here's the direct extension. Here's what they do. Here's this. So that's always fun. I don't know why. It always works. And then this is one I learned from, anybody know Lou Adler? Like a legend in the business. Great guy. And basically it's a LinkedIn trick that what he says is, old school recruiting. You're either a candidate or you're a source, right? Well, his is LinkedIn, you're either a candidate or a source, right? So if he talks to a candidate and immediately determines that they're not going to be a candidate, he just goes, can we connect on LinkedIn? So suddenly he's now first degree with all that person's connections. So I was like, that's so basic. I mean, it's so sad that it's so basic, but we forget to do that. That if there's a candidate out there that you're talking to and you realize they're not going to be a fit, why the heck not network with them? Okay? They may kind of freak out that they don't want to be connected with a recruiter or whatever, you know, whatever. But here's something that I do with the customers, and this is a couple of techniques that I leverage, which are recruiting blitz days. I'm kind of known for having, I try to, instead of doing one-off interviews all the time, where you're having to arrange for all the interviewers to do this, arrange for individual candidates to come in and meet, I'll do Super Fridays. I've even done Super Saturdays because no one has issues, you know, with the scheduling other than, you know, a lot of time families, but, you know, they want to get it done on a morning and they want to get it done. So I've taken the lumps and the hits on having to take people away from their families on Saturday. Being a parent, I know that's tough as hell, and sometimes business is not allowed for the recruiting process to happen. So recruiting blitz days, I'm not saying do it on Saturdays, guys, that's a last resort, okay? So everybody, I'm pro-kid, pro-family time, okay? I want you all to know that. So, but I'm just saying that think out of the box in some ways that, you know, and then recruiting blitz days have really been good in that you're leveraging efficiencies. You've got all the candidates coming in at one time, you've got all the interviewers there, you can actually have senior management block off the time for you, which really helps, and then senior management can see when people are bailing on the interviews. So I've just had a lot of success with that. The issue comes in is when you've got multiple candidates seeing each other that may know each other, but it's kind of like they have a code of silence. When they see each other, they go, oh, okay, I know you're interviewing, we don't say anything, kind of. So. And the thing is, I've done morning and afternoon, and I'll have a candidate that's from one company be there in the morning, the other candidate be in the afternoon. I have them stay at different hotels. So, consensus meetings. Anybody do consensus meetings? You guys, this is like the greatest thing. What it is it's basically, how many times have you had, I'm expecting to see a lot of hands go up, you've had an interview occur, and you don't get feedback on, do you want to hire or not hire the candidate for more than 48 hours? Everybody's getting it. What you can do, whether you're internal with a corporation or whether you're outside the organization, you can advise them that they need to do a consensus meeting. And basically all you do is you get all the interviewers at the end of the day in a room together for a half hour. Just schedule it like an additional interview at the end of the day, and all of them get together and talk about the candidate. They come into the room, thumbs up, you know, kind of red, yellow, green, and nobody leaves that room until a decision is made. Talk about hiring efficiency. I would just tell you, it's so basic and simple, but it's something I've leveraged for a couple of years, and I've had so much success with that. And the other piece is that you also have, everybody kind of holds hands and says, you know, I agree, we're going to hire this person, so you can't have the person that leaves the room and is like, well, I didn't agree to that, I didn't say that, you know, I was like, so it really works. The intake meeting, if you guys aren't doing this, I'm sure on the agency side, when I was trained, this was my area to not only sell what I do as a recruiter and sell my services and sell my, you know, my consulting, but now that I'm internal as a corporate recruiter, I still use those techniques. And I always try to get, who are your top 3 successful hires that you have? And can I get a copy of their resume? You can take out the name, I don't need to know any of that. I just want to know where they came from, what their background is, any organizations that they're a part of, anything. So I do what's called reverse engineering the top 3 resumes for the customer or for my hiring manager. Then I also want to network, who's the best consultant that you know in the business that does marketing? Who's the best marketing consultant out there? And so what I try to do is network with them, try to get in on LinkedIn. I also try to find out, are there any niche boards that I need to post to that I may not have known about, that this person who's usually there knows. And then the last thing is, and this is for the internal agency, internal corporate recruiters, every single system nowadays has the find more like this, like Amazon. So if you know the person that you're replacing, and you know that name before you go into that rec intake meeting, you can do a clone, what I call it, the person that is replacing. Just put the name in there from when you hired them before, and it pulls up all these resumes that are matched. So you walk into this rec intake meeting, hear everything that they're looking for, and at the end of the meeting say, you know, the trial close that we were all probably trained to say. If I brought you a candidate that had this, and this, is that somebody you'd interview within 48 hours? If I brought you somebody that had this, and came from this company, is that somebody you'd hire? Oh, yeah. Would you interview them? Yeah. How quick? You're looking at the resume you got in your hand. So you leave the room, you come back in, 8 hours, 3 minutes, however long you want to, and they're like, oh my gosh. So you've done nothing except your homework in advance. Okay. Okay, so last but not least, if at first you don't succeed, call in an airstrike. I didn't get as many chuckles as I would have liked.